Shalom, shalom, all praise to the Most High Yah. All glory to the King of Kings. And all esteem and honor goes to the Ruach HaKodesh. Man, I'm sitting here looking at it. It's a beautiful day today, man. It's a little hot, but it's beautiful. Just looking and being grateful as I admire the handiwork of Abba. Giving him praise, man. Giving him esteem. It's just so much in this world that we couldn't even fathom to understand. Even when I think about the human body, scientifically, we try to comprehend, but it's still unfathomable to try to comprehend what Abba created. He reveals what needs to be revealed to us. I say, just like I hear, you know about these people who create movies and stuff like that, especially horror flicks. I understand, man, they have a source that they tapping into that's giving them this information. Even when I think about the people over in CERN, they connected to a darker source that's giving them information, feeding them. Same thing with this world. That's why I say you gotta be able to separate our system from this satanic system. And for me, I spend a lot of time in the satanic system, in the matrix, giving a lot of unnecessary time. But I know the scriptures say that we will get back what the cankerworm, the caterpillar, and the locusts have stole. But in order for us to get that back, we got to be able to focus on the one who can give that back. See, like I said, the enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy, so he comes to take. Abba comes to give. He gives life. He creates. He is the light. Light is life. Like I say, you're in the darkness, that's death. And when I was in the satanic system, I thought I was living right. I thought I was doing things the way I was supposed to. What they tell us, go to school. We get indoctrinated, come and find out, man, school wasn't nothing but an indoctrination. Them giving us information that we can't even use for real in the real world. What, algebra and trigonometry and calculus. I'm not saying it's not a place for it, but I mean, how important is that versus when they take out home economics workshop? See, the system know what it does. Slowly but surely, it destroys you from being independent, or worse, being dependent on the Father. So it indoctrinates you into that system to have you take on a whole different belief system. Paul talks about a different Jesus. To most people, they don't worship Abba Yah. They got different gods. They got different Jesus they believe in. I remember when I was in rehab and I was talking to a guy and he was Buddhist. But as he was telling me about the Buddhists and Buddhism and how it has the same belief system as Yahushua, I said, why would you take the authentic versus, why wouldn't you take the authentic versus you settling for a knockoff? Yahushua, Jesus Christ, is the real deal. He's the only way to the Father. People say, oh, everybody got their own religions, and they, even within Christianity, you got too many denominations and doctrine. And for what? Paul tells us about that. That's why people don't like Paul, because Paul, man, he was hitting on something. And this is why he had to tell Timothy, man, for the future generation to come, beware these things. You're going to have false prophets. You're going to have false shepherds. You're going to have people trying to spy out your liberty. You're going to have individuals who are going to come in preaching another gospel, another Jesus, doctrines of devils. And I hear people giving out worldly wisdom, and I say, man, do they not know what they speaking really comes from the Bible? If people was really in their scriptures, they would understand Ecclesiastics, the book of Solomon. These is the book of wisdom, Proverbs, Psalms. But somehow we don't want to give credit to where credit is due. We want to make it seem like we came up with this cliche of wisdom that, you know, the world uses. Everything derived from someone. And that's usually how people come to steal patents. Something that already been out, and here comes somebody, they probably just tweaked it a little bit and actually knew how to capitalize on it and made it theirs. Or worse, you just stole it from somebody else. What they call plagiarism. But, you know, I say all that to say that, man, Abba wants us to be wealthy. Abba didn't intend for us to be poor and struggling and trying to make ends meet. What they say job is, just over broke. I look at all the people that are in the Bible that Abba deal with, and none of them was broke. What did the scripture say? None of y'all children suffer lack. He provides. Now, maybe we don't have what we think we should have, but we got what we need. See, because we sitting up here looking online and we see people living this good life, or even in the world, people riding cars and they looking riding high. That's covetousness. Because you wishing you had what that individual had. But like I say again, you don't know who they serving. I'm not saying just because a person got a Lamborghini, they not serving God. But if you serving God, you'll realize that what God gives you is for you. So at the end of the day, I'm content. Like I said, even if I'm in a cardboard box in a Hooverville, whatever Yah has for me is for me. But what's more important than everything in this world is the presence of Yah. Like I said, yeah, who don't want to have a nice life, enjoy it, you know, be able to have funds to be able to produce for the kingdom. And see, a lot of us who are believers, the reason why we suffer lack is because of the enemy trying to keep us in a poverty-stricken mindset. Going back to what I mean, most of us coming out of the satanic system of indoctrination, which was formed to make us be consumers, employees and not employers. Most of us don't want to put the work in. Some of us, we don't have the wisdom and understanding because, again, we played around. Let's just be real. Let's be truthful. We didn't make the right investments. You know, I was watching this guy, Asian dude, man, he could speak like a whole rack of languages. And I said, man, that's you know, and there's a lot of people out here who speak different languages, right? But I look at that, like, they had to take time and spend time to invest in themselves to, you know, build that skill. I'm looking like, man, when in school, when they was trying to teach us Spanish and trying to teach us about the computers, man, I wanted to be a class clown. In my mind, man, what I'm gonna need with any of this? I didn't see the future. I didn't prepare for a future because I didn't see a future. Why? Because a lot of people around me was dropping like flies. I didn't see no hope. I was lucky if I made it to the next day, living in poverty. You rarely had food to eat. Didn't know where your next meal was going to come from. Had to go steal water to take bath or even just to drink. I mean, we all done been through that. So our time wasn't really invested properly. And then again, like I said, when you don't have men around you that can teach you how to harness your emotions. Like I say, I'm in the world and I see a lot of older gentlemen and they act more like little boys. They act like a generation. They act like this generation. But it's so crazy. And like I said, I was in that. I was a part of that. I had a bad attitude. I had a lot of anger, a lot of rage. Why? Because like I said, I didn't have nobody to teach me how to harness that. I had frustration because I didn't have a male role model. And then being the oldest, you got all this stuff thrown on your shoulders. So when I got old enough, man, I was quickly on my own and you know, left the house when I was about 14. Thinking I was a man. Why? Because I can have sex now and I can sell a little bit of drugs. Drive a little car, you know. All the false pretenses of what a man is. I'm not learning how to build my credit. I'm not learning how to build a business. I'm not learning how to budget money. And again, like I say again, I'm not learning how to control my emotions. In my mind, I was a go-getter because I was sitting up here on the block 24/7, slinging dope. Poisoning my people even more. Doing what the system wanted me to do. Doing what Satan wanted me to do. And then it didn't dawn on me until after a while, like every time I would get to a plateau. And for some reason, I could never make it past that point. Because that was Abba. He didn't want me getting comfortable in the devil's system. See, because that's what would have happened. My last offense of getting locked up, I was about an ounce or so away from a kingpin charge. Now, like I said, that caused me to get a felony and everything else. But if I would have listened to what most people in the streets say, oh, I'm a felon, I can't get no job, I can't do this, I can't do that, I'd have been stuck in that same rat race. I'd have been stuck in that same position, doubting, going off of he say, she say. And this is why I say experience is the best teacher. See, because if I listen to he say, she say, I will never take the time to go find out for myself. People say, oh man, running a business, that's hard. Maybe it's hard for you, and maybe it is hard. But if you don't go in doing research, oh, getting in real estate is hard. I ain't trying to get in the stock market, that's too much. Bless me. See, we want the quick necessities. See, if I knew what I knew back then, what I know now, man, I would have invested in stock markets. I would have invested in Bitcoin. I did a lot of things because I'm listening to the fear-mongering of the world. And like I said, Abba tells us, fear not. I don't choose not to drink and be in the clubs and be in the scene in the world because of fear. I choose to not do these things because of my reverence and the love for the Father. And the more I spend time with him, the more he molds me and shows me the man that he wants me to be, the man that he wants me to become. Yeah, this comes with a lot of bumps and bruises. Yeah, it comes with a lot of adversity and opposition. But what is a reward without challenges? This is why he said get around like-minded individuals. Sometimes we gotta let the people go that we grew up with because we comfortable with them. Because at the end of the day, if they not growing, then they sitting here, they keeping you from growing. They becoming a stumbling block. And you don't need a stumbling block in your life. You need people who are going to encourage you to be better than who you was 20 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Like I said, I'm looking at supposed to be grown men, maybe my age or older, maybe even in their 20s. And like I said, I give you a pass if you ain't 28. Because, like I said, your frontal lobe of understanding and development don't really kick in until you 28. So that's why I say the world tell us, oh, we grown at 20, 21. Nah, you still a child, man. Your mind is still not even developed yet. But to be past 30 and you still acting like you 19 or 18 because you can't have no discipline, self-discipline. And that's what the scriptures tell us. A man without self-control is like a city without walls. Satan loves an individual without self-control. That's how he's able to get in and get in your heart and get in your mind. Change your heart, change your mind. You change your posture. You change your path. Because he says a lot on that wide road. It's a few on that narrow path. And people who find the narrow path, they don't stay on it. Why? Because it becomes hard. You trying to balance on the narrow path, but you looking this way, that way, because you trying to look at the old things and trying to see what everybody in your past doing. Like I said, sometimes it's cool to go on monk mode, man. It's just you, yourself, Abba, or whatever you believe in. Like I say, growth is growth, man. For me, I just do it better with the Father. I do it better with Yah. But if you growing and you developing, hey, cool. But all I'm saying is, just like when we was in the world, it was something, it was a driving force. And mostly we was doing stuff that was destruction and detrimental to our being. That was Satan. And that's why I said my time wasn't well invested. You know, when I was a child, elementary, junior high, I'm gonna say elementary because junior high is when it really, everything popped off for me. I started getting into sex, all that unnecessary stuff. But elementary, I was an athlete. I was taking care of my body, running track, playing baseball, having fun with my friends. Be outside playing ball, football until the street lights came on and it was time to come in the house. But I mean, I'm just saying, I was doing more things that was more conducive. And even then at that time, like I said, my mom was doing Bible studies with us. So even as I look at my children, you know, as I lead them and I let Abba lead them, I know they might be like the prodigal children. They might decide to go into the world and do things. All I can do is pray for them. And all I can do right now is be the best example I can for them. Especially for my daughters and my son, because my daughters need to see what a man look like. Not what no bum or no turd look like. But again, I could be that example. They could still choose to want to test the waters. And I'm here regardless. I'm going to pray for them. Because I look at how the father for the prodigal son, what he do? He didn't argue with his son. His son said he wanted his inheritance. He gave it to him. When his son went into the world, figured it out, he realized, man, I need to be back underneath my father. The father was there with open arms and celebrated. Just like Abba is with us. We go into the world, we get them bumps and bruises, we go through things, but he allows us to come back. We just got to stay in his presence. And like I said, he's going to work it out. He got us. I wholeheartedly believe and know it. Man, my mind and my thinking and my whole being is way different than I was 20 years ago. And that's all due to Abba. He changed my life. I had to make the initiative, but he changed it. So I just thought, man, I'd come and bring this little information, man. Like I said, start now. Invest in yourself. Stop saying what you can't do. Focus on what you can do. And over time, you're going to start to do the things that you said you can't do. Shalom.